Hi, I'm Keenan Williams, and this is the Social Impact Live on kwmedia.life. This is the place where we challenge societal norms and we look at them as well. It's a safe place for you to be able to share your thoughts and opinions or to listen to others sharing theirs. I'm with you every step of the way, every weeknight at 9 p.m. South African Standard Time. Reminder to follow us on all forms of social media at KWM Socials and to visit our website, kwmedia.life, to listen to previous episodes of our podcast series and to receive updates. This is the Social Impact Live on kwmedia.life. Now, to you, what is the role of a parent? I know that for me, it goes well beyond the physical aspect as well as the financial aspect of being a parent, but it goes deeper than that into the emotional, psychological, and spiritual well-being of that child. I am a parent currently for more than 16 months, and we love our little bundle of joy very much, but I know that there are some days when it just feels like we want to pull our hair out, and she just drives us up the wall. It can be because of a lack of sleep, crying too much because of not getting enough sleep, or things that just involves throwing a tantrum. But for you, what is the role of a parent? And also, what are your thoughts on being buddy-buddy with your child? I would love to hear from you. You can send me your WhatsApp, text, or voice messages on +27 76 476 9277. To help us navigate through the discussion a little bit more, I have parenting conversationalist Victorine Mbong Shu with me on the line. Victorine, thanks so much for chatting to me tonight on the Social Impact. I was raised to respect my parents, and they were definitely not buddy-buddy with me, but I could share my thoughts and my opinions with them, with a limit, of course. Is it, in your opinion, a good or bad idea for a parent to be buddy-buddy with their children?
It's a very important thing to want to find out if it's actually necessary for a parent to befriend their child. Yes, that question is valid. If you look at it carefully, it is extremely important that a parent befriend their child, depending on the age of that child as well. But what is more important is that when you befriend your child as a parent, you should be able to draw a line, a very thick line, between the time that you are a friend to your child and the time that you are a parent. What happens is that most parents actually fall in the trap of becoming a friend to their child and then staying a friend to that child and not retracting when it's time to discipline the child, for instance, and then become a parent. So a typical example I'll give you is that you sit down, you have a friendly conversation or a friendly play with your child. But at the time you are doing that, if that child happens to throw soil into another child's eye or into your own eye, you should be able to stand your feet and discipline the child and teach the child at the same time that as much as what they have done is wrong, you have the authority to point it out to them that it is wrong and to actually stop them from doing the wrong thing again. So you don't smile with the child and say, oh no, we were just playing, you did what you could do while playing, So, and you need to be able to tell when a child makes a mistake and know that as a parent, your position in that child's life is not just to befriend them so that they feel free to talk to you when they can't talk to you or when they feel they need to talk, but also to discipline them so they know that you are the authority of power in their lives.
Victorine, you're talking about drawing that thick line, and some parents are failing in that regard by rather being more of a friend than to want to be uncool and be in the role of a parent. Now, when it comes to, say, disciplining that child, I know that I was raised with a little spanks now and again, but it really wasn't necessary because I was a good guy. But that is what I had to go through as a child. It wasn't abuse, but it was a way my parents disciplined me, and it is something which had been taught to them by their parents. And because of that cycle, it existed since the beginning of time, because that spank was involved in my family since the years of Moses and the gang. Now, today, however, we are hearing that corporal punishment is not allowed, and in some instances, it's also illegal. So what's the best way to discipline a child if not through a spank?
The issue of corporal punishment has been very controversial. And most of the times when I am faced with this question, what I tell people is that the first thing for me is my cultural judgment, is my values that come to play before I decide on whether I want to spank my child or I don't want to. For me to also decide on whether it's appropriate to spank my child or it's not appropriate. You know, many proponents of spanking have actually given reasons why spanking should be done or not be done at the same time. And for me as an individual, I have always said to parents, your culture should govern how you bring up your children. You see, the problem with spanking is that most parents do not know when spanking turns into abuse, or most adults do not realize when spanking has become abusive. So if I were to say to you, yes, go ahead and spank, and then I have to measure the degree to which you should spank, so I wouldn't really want to advise people to spank, but at the same time, if it's in your culture, if it's in the way that if it's the language that your child understands, I really do not have authority in how you have decided to run your parenting or to parent your child. But I do not really, given the level of violence in our country, in the era that we live in, and also given the fact that children now fight back. If you're spanking your child, are you going to be able to stand that child spanking you as well? So be very careful in how you want to consider spanking your child, because everything we do today is a lesson to our children, and teach the lesson that you would like your child to one day employ. How do I say it? That you want your child to one day practice on you or their own children, and you would be happy to see them do so.
Absolutely. Victorine, let's get into the crux of this conversation. What truly is the role of a parent?
It's a traditional question to find out what the role of a parent is in a child's life. And it's a very simple thing. The role of a parent is the parent is a coach. The parent is a figure of authority. The parent is a leader. The parent is a role model to a child. And the parent is a person who provides safety and security to their child. I have come to give the analogy of a family by looking at a workplace, for instance, which is a simple example that most people would understand. And I say to them, a family is like a business founded by the father who hired the mother to become a tool of production, and that producer produces children who then become the labor force of that workplace. And if you see yourself as an employer and a producer of the labor force, then you would have to see yourself as a supervisor to this labor force. You would have to nurture the labor force in such a way that it then turns to reproduce as well, or it becomes a productive investment for you at the same time. So basically, without taking away the fact that we have we have people who are in mixed type of relationships, not necessarily the mother and father type of household, who are now bringing up children. But I am strongly of the value that, that is a role. And then you have to just differentiate now which of the parents you are, and then know the role that you have to play. And again, for single parents, then you have to know that you're playing the double parents role, or you've got another parent of the opposite gender of yours that is substituting that role for you.
A reminder that if you'd like to send through your WhatsApp text or voice messages, you can do that on +27 76 476 9277. Just as Anonymous had done, Anonymous, you ask, is it okay for parents to smoke weed or marijuana with my children or the friends of my children? Because as a parent, if you are preaching to your kids that it's bad, etc., then how is it right or okay to do so?
Asking me a question like if I would like, or if it's okay for a parent to smoke marijuana in the presence of their children, is a very insultive approach for me, because I actually honestly do not advocate parents doing things that are unethical in the presence of their children. Kenan, I mean, look at that. Is that something coming from an adult? I'm sorry for being judgmental, but just the fact that this question is being asked to us, I think the person asking the question knows very well that it's incorrect for you to practice habits like that in front of your children. But again, who am I? My position as a conversationalist is to create awareness to parents, to bring to the fore the fact that the things that we would not allow our children to do shouldn't even be considered doing by ourselves. Because there's no way you can be smoking marijuana and then you tell your child not to smoke, let alone smoking marijuana in the presence of your child, or in the company of your child, as that question is asking. So for me, it's a complete no-no to smoke marijuana as an adult, let alone smoking with your child.
Victorine, that message did come from an adult. In fact, it came from a parent who asked to remain anonymous. Julie, you send us a message saying, I'm a single parent to a 3-year-old. I'm doing my best to take care of my child without his father, as he isn't fit to be a father, sadly. I just wanted to know, is it wrong of me keeping my son from his father? Also, should I be playing the role of both father and mother? Julie, thanks so much for sending through that message and for sharing your parenting experience with us. Victorine, what's your thoughts on that?
Wow, this is a very interesting situation where a parent thinks that another parent is not fit to be a parent to the child. I am no medical practitioner to determine how it came about that the father is not fit to be present in the life of that child. But should it be that a diagnosis has been done and then the mother has to do a few things? Yes, she has to actually keep up with her child and make sure that she plays both roles in the child's life. But at the same time, it's not possible for a woman to present herself to a 3-year-old as a father. So she would have to maybe get a grandparent, an uncle, a neighbor, any strong male partner or male person that would then help her in grooming this child to enable the child to see the perspective of a man, because it's extremely important to present both perspectives to a child, especially when the child is still at a very young age. And also when the child gets to adolescence, a time where children get to start actually holding firm to certain identities. They need to know the difference between a male identity and a female identity, and to be able to have that balance in their own self. But again, I am against the fact that the father is not fit to present himself in the life of that child. It's really it's a very, how can I put it, very, very derogatory statement or derogatory stance for a mother to take, but yeah, unless diagnoses have been done and the father is found not fit, then I would say it's okay.
Absolutely. Nicole, thanks so much for sending through your message as well. Saying, personally, I believe that the role of a parent should be to guide, love, and teach their children to be good citizens of society. No, I'll not be buddy-buddy with my kids. They can make friends at school. You go on to say that whatever I teach them, I'll make sure they understand why. Even if I teach them that I'm not happy about a particular choice or a friend or whatever, I won't say because I say so. It implies that I don't respect their voice. But I will say that I have more experience and this situation looks very familiar to me. And just like that, time's up for this evening's live broadcast of The Social Impact. Thanks so much for streaming us today and for all your messages and comments. There's still a lot coming through, but we will have to run that another time as we're running out of time at the moment. Victorine, thanks so much for joining me on The Social Impact as well. Victorine Mbong Shu is a parenting conversationalist and will be joining us again next week, Wednesday night, to chat about parenting. For more podcasts, visit kwmedia.life and follow us on all forms of social media at KWM Socials. So, from myself, Keenan Williams, keep rocking SA. Bye-bye.
The things my father said would make me a better man. Hard work and the love of friends, a woman that understands. I hope my father knows the seeds we've sown still grow.